So, today we are going to be rebuilding Manchester United. Now, this has been highly requested, also on the community poll on the community tab, so be sure to go and get involved in the next ones. Basically, I put up 2 teams, whichever one wins does get the rebuild, so make sure you get involved in them. But I hope you guys do enjoy these rebuild videos. If you do, be sure to smash the like button. Let's try and smash 20 likes on this video, and please do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. So then, guys, Manchester United. Now, this is my club, the team I support, through the thick, yeah, just negatives at the moment, really. But let's have a little discussion about this then. So the challenge is, firstly, the challenge is to win the Premier League. That's point 1. Point 2 is to rebuild the squad to a point where I'm happy with it, and I can say I can send that squad off and I feel like the rebuild is done. And point 3, which is the main one, is to win the Champions League. So 3 things we have to do for this to be a successful rebuild, in my opinion. Now, whenever you guys do suggest a rebuild or something like that, if you do want like a little challenge alongside it, so you know you want me to win a certain amount of titles or stuff like that, be sure to comment that below as well. But Manchester United is my club, so I'm going to set the standard, and that's what I think is a successful rebuild, making us win the Premier League again and also winning the Champions League. When you do start with this United team, obviously you're quite blessed with finances. You've got a fairly decent team as well, with some players which, if you don't really want as well, you can look to offload for a little bit of Wonga and, you know, replace them with younger players. But we're going to start off now by sort of just talking about, obviously, the reputation, 4.5. There's a lot of, you know, you have to get results with this club. Training facilities as well, 4-star. Youth facilities, 4.5. 4.5 with the recruitment as well. Now, obviously, what Ronaldo said about the facilities, you debate whether this is 4-star, 4.5, but who knows? Anyway, like I said, the plan is we're just going to see how many seasons this takes to actually complete. But to start things off then, as we always do, we are going to look at the transfer budget, and we have got £20 million. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to sell any players that I'd like to sell in the first season. There are a few players which I'm going to talk about in a second who will not be staying with us the whole time. And I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to sell them right away, because obviously some of them are on ridiculous wages, and that makes them very hard to sell. But this is going to be the team that does, obviously, you know, it's a bit iffy this, because it doesn't show players necessarily in the right position all the time. But we are going to be using a tactic made by Nap, so massive shout out to him. He's the absolute GOAT of making tactics. I swear to God, some really good tactics. This, well, not just this FM, all across FMs, but this one's quite interesting because it actually does look a little bit like a sort of 4-2-4 in this scenario, but it is definitely more of just a 4-4-2, but it did work really well. So I'm going to start off then. Goalkeeper situation, I am relatively happy with this. We've got David De Gea for now, who can play with us for a couple of seasons, and I will be looking to bring someone in. I've got no intention of, you know, making Butland become permanent. I'll let Heaton run out of his contract and, you know, just see what happens with him. Dean Henderson, I've got no ambition to keep him at the club. He will be sold the second he comes back. I'm just being brutally honest, guys, at the end of the day. I don't feel like I'm brutally honest enough in these rebuilds, so I'm gonna lay out the plan before we get into the actual rebuild. Left back, pretty much sorted for the entire save. Luke Shaw and Malacia are the only 2 that I plan on keeping. So, you know, if you're aware, Tellers will be gone. Also, Brandon Williams will be gone. Lisandro Martinez can play there, but in my head, Luke Shaw and Malacia are more than capable of sort of, you know, rotating between them 2. Centre backs, again, a position which is going to be a lot of chopping and changing. For now, Martinez and Varane can definitely be the starting 2. Harry Maguire will be looking to be offloaded. Lindelof, etc., Tuanzebe, Phil Jones especially, but these are some of the players we might not be able to offload right from the bat. Over to the right back, pretty much sorted for the entire save. I'm a real big advocate of Diego Dalot. I think he's absolutely fantastic. So we'll keep Dalot, and Wan-Bissaka will be back up unless he's really performing badly. Then we can look to sell him, cash in, and bring in a youngster. The 2 in midfield then. You obviously got a deep line playmaker and a Volante. And to start things off, Casemiro is going to be sort of the main man that is going to be in the midfield. Eriksen will be the deep line playmaker next to him. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes can also play deep line playmaker, so they're going to sort of balance between them 2. Midfield's fairly comfortable for now. Obviously, going forwards, if we can, we're going to look to offload the likes of McTominay, possibly even Fred. But for now, that isn't the main focus on where we need to strengthen. Going over to the left-hand side, now on this list, it's not showing it, but obviously Rashford can also play here. Also, we've got Jadon Sancho. Anthony Elanga, I'm going to give a chance to develop for himself, see exactly what sort of happens with him. If you're wondering where Garnacho is, I'm just going to see how he does in the under-21s, just to see if he, you know, after a season or 2, he's actually playing really well. Because if he is, I will put him in the first team, and we will make sure we sort of build this, not around him, but make sure he's definitely involved. On the right-hand side, you obviously got the same candidates, except you've got Anthony on the right-hand side, who again is a player I obviously want to use. We spent quite a bit of money on him, so it would be nice to get some game time out of him. Same with Sancho. It's all about how they perform, guys, at the end of the day. And the strikers up top, obviously we've got 2 strikers, so the main aim is going to be to bring in another striker to add a little bit of depth to this position. We've got Rashford, Martial, and Anthony who can play there. Now, obviously, there is going to be 2 up top, so imagine I'm pretty confident the assistant is going to put Martial and Rashford up top, which is great, it's fine, but we do need to have a little bit of backup. So we're going to see what we can do with this 20 million. And hopefully, if we can work a little bit of magic, we will be able to bring in a striker, even if it isn't the top quality one, just for a little bit of backup. Well, and that is exactly what we've done, guys. Now, we only had 20 million, but with the beauty of installments, we have been able to bring in Tammy Abraham for 52 million. Now, I think this is actually quite a good price for someone like Tammy. He's a great striker, really good attributes inside of the game as well, as you can see here. Nearly a 4-star, close to his full potential, which is completely fine. Played for some very good clubs as well. Obviously, you've got Bristol, Swansea, Villa, Chelsea, Roma of recent. Good finishing, reasonably quick as well. Just a lot about him, and I think that he can definitely, he will get in the first team, to be honest, and that'll give Martial a chance to obviously be more of an impact sub and to fill in when this player or Rashford is injured. And I just think this is a really, really suited striker. Ideally, I'm going to go over a few targets now, just so you know who we are trying to get up front. I'm trying to get Harry Kane at some point. Now, I know he's an aging striker, but I do think he can bring trophies. He can score goals, and we've got the creativity. So I'm really trying to bring in Kane, but obviously this season it was not doable. And if we go over to this is going to be how the team does line up. So we're going to have De Gea, Dalot, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, Eriksen, Casemiro, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, and Abraham. That's filtered by best 11. So it's actually going to be Martial and Abraham up front, Rashford on the left, meaning Anthony drops to the bench, which hopefully isn't going to be the entire scenario. Also, Bruno Fernandes drops to the bench because I believe Eriksen is just as good as him at the deep line playmaker role. So I'll be sure that they are getting game time. So don't worry about that. But that is going to be the team for the first season. So let's go over, simulate a season, and see how we do. Well, guys, this is going to be the results for the first season. And obviously, we look at it, and overall, I'm right off the bat, I'm buzzing because we've won the Premier League quite comfortably as well. We've also won the Europa League, runners up in the FA Cup, so we weren't far off having a treble winning season, scoring 109 goals and only conceding 37. And if we go into the actual player stats, which I'm really excited to do, we have got a lot of goal scorers coming in here. We've got Marcus Rashford with 38 goals, Tammy with 36, Martial with 31, 14 for Anthony, 10 for Sancho, Varane with 8, and then it does drop off a little bit there, as to be expected in terms of assisters. We've got Dalot there contributing with 13. We've got 16 here coming in for Eriksen from a deep line playmaker role, 32 coming in for Jadon Sancho, 12 for Anthony, 7 from Abraham, and 8 for Rashford. So we are seeing those sort of 4 attackers, the left-hand side, the right-hand side, the 2 up top, really getting involved with not only goals but also assists. And if we look inside of the deep line playmaker role, which is also going to be, where is he? Christian Eriksen, he's also popping up with the odd goal here and there as well. So to be fair to him, he's doing a lot from that deep line playmaker role. As for Bruno Fernandes, he actually was used a lot as a substitute, but still done relatively well, considering he only started 12 games. So we are going to see exactly what's going on with that situation, because obviously, for whatever reason, they are playing Eriksen over him, although Bruno Fernandes can play that role at the same sort of star ability. So that's always interesting to see why. But this is the good thing about rebuilding some of the big teams, because we have been given a budget of 66 million basically, and that is not before we decided to sell anyone. Now in the second season, we may have the opportunity to sell some of the players I did list, because possibly teams now need the players more. That player might not have played that well that season. We can look to offload him, and we can just try and push him out the door, as blunt as that is, but football is business. So we are going to go and have a look now at some of the players I mentioned, see who we can sell and see who we can bring in, and hopefully strengthen this team to, you know, carry over that European success, but this time in the Champions League. Guys, this is going to be an extremely busy transfer window. We've actually got 2 pages of this, so don't get too carried away, because trust me, there's more. I wouldn't get too excited just off these, because we've also got another name that we are going to be bringing in. But as you can see here, we have, firstly, we've offloaded Donny van der Beek. I just didn't really see him having a future here at the club. I've got players in mind that I want to bring in the midfield, and at the moment he's not even getting in the team. So for me, I let him go. It was a reasonable offer from Monaco, 34 million. I'll see you later. Phil Jones to Rennes for 3.8 million, and Iqbal, I did actually want to keep him, but he didn't want to stay. So 4.2 million pounds to Brentford. Giving us a total of 42 million pounds of players sold. Now, we spent 204 million. Now, installments are a beauty for this, I'm going to be honest. We've not crippled the club, so don't worry. Obviously, we have sold, and also we did have that budget. But all we've got to take that into account, because I nearly made a mistake there. Tammy we brought in obviously last season, but it's just sort of stuck on this sort of page. But the first player is going to be Harry Kane from Tottenham, 67 million. Now, it is quite a significant amount for an aging striker, but I am very confident this guy is going to be the piece we need to get us goals and win us a trophy. And I'm still, to this day, I say, if he had good service like we can provide him in this team, he can win something. It's simple as that. And I really hope this does work out. We also partner that signing with one of the most sought-after centre-backs at the moment in the world. He's going to be Gvardiol from Leipzig for £87 million. Now, before we get into the second page, we're going to talk about the signings a little bit more. Before we do, be sure to leave a like on this video and do smash that subscribe button, guys. It's completely free and we're growing at an incredible rate. It means a lot and I'm really grateful for your support. But anyway, this is going to be the first signing, Harry Kane. Obviously, world class. Do I need to say it? No, I don't need to say it at all. Been at Spurs, played 313 games, which is a ridiculous amount of games. He's not the quickest, to be honest. He's not the quickest, but it's not really an issue because we've got two up top. He's going to be next to someone who's going to be slightly quicker anyway, so he can sort of be the, more of the supportive striker, if anything, and get the ball fed to him right at his feet. His finishing, however, is 19, passing 18, penalties are 20. Fantastic off the ball as well. Good teamwork, good vision. A real complete player. And 29 years of, it is reasonably old, but he's sort of got 3 to 4 seasons in him. And obviously, I'm pretty confident we can win the Champions League within that sort of region of time. So that's exactly why we brought him in. And this guy, I don't really need to talk about him because we know how good this guy is. Had a great World Cup, and I genuinely do think he is one of the best talents on the market at the moment. I mean, you look at him, he can play left back, he can play centre back, he can pretty much do it all at the back line, obviously apart from the right, and he might even have games at left back. I don't know how the assistant is going to see this signing, but overall a fantastic player to add to the squad. But that's not it, because we've also got this page, and this is where you can see how we actually afforded some of these players, because we actually offloaded Telles to Monaco for 7.7 million and Harry Maguire to Lazio for 44 million. Eric Bailly joins Maguire as well. He went to Marseille for 8.5 million, and they're pretty much the most significant players that we did want out of the door right away. Now, Enzo Fernandez, again, didn't actually cost me too much on FM. 39.5 million, which I think is an absolute steal. And this is obviously a player who might play now, but is also for the future at the end of the day. Obviously having a fantastic World Cup, valued significantly higher than what we paid for him. You look at his attributes and I'd say they're fairly average to start with, but he can grow. He can get to that sort of 4-star ability. And at the end of the day, I just think he's a really good player. Already a world-class midfielder at the age of 22. Got some good off-the-ball attributes, good vision, good passing, good long shots. And do you know what? At the end of the day, he can play several roles in that midfield. And he's definitely going to strengthen this Manchester United midfield. And this is going to be what the team sort of looks like going into the next season. Now, as you can see here, they don't actually start Enzo in the midfield, probably because Fernandez and Casemiro have got better attributes right off the bat. So we are going to start off with De Gea, Dalot, Gvardiol, Martinez. So it's Varane that does get the chop to the bench. Luke Shaw, Fernandez, Casemiro, Anthony Sancho, Kane and Rashford. Now, that first 11's outrageous. I look at the bench and I look at the talent on there and I'm already seeing how we're rebuilding this squad. Obviously with the likes of Varane on the bench, Abraham, Martial, Malacia, Enzo, Diallo. There's no real other standout. Eriksen, also some okay defenders to bring on if we need them as well. And overall, I think this team's really coming along now, so I'm excited for the second season. So let's go over and simulate it and see what we can do. And this is what we can do. It is an absolute, well, again, it's a fantastic season. This time it is going to be 4 trophies in one season. Almost, I mean, I say almost, not really almost doing everything. We got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, which isn't a bad first display because the team isn't really 100% rebuilt, in my opinion. There's still some more influence I want to have on the signings. However, we did win the Super Cup. we won the Premier League, we won the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield, which is more than enough in the second season for me. 4 trophies in one season, 141 goals scored, 30 conceded. It looks like Harry Kane's instantly hit the ground running with his stats, which we are going to see here. 56 appearances, 62 goals, and 19 assists. Tammy Abraham with 56 goals, 20 for Fernandes, 19 for Varane, 18 for Rashford, 15 for Sancho, and it is going to be 13 for Enzo Fernandez. Very good to see. Assists, we've got 10 down here for Diego Dallo, 17 here for Ericsson, 6 in here for Gvardiol, 11 in here for Anthony, 7 for Martial, 28 coming in from, that is going to be Jadon Sancho, isn't it? Jadon Sancho with 28. 32 for Bruno Fernandes, very impressive, playing a lot more games this season as well. 16 for Tammy and 19 for Kane. So Kane really is the complete package. I mean, almost getting 20 assists and over 60 goals in his first season, nearly averaging an 8 match rating over the entire season is absolutely incredible. So it goes to show that if you are after more instant success, it's not always a bad idea to sign some pre-made plays. It really isn't. And going into what is going to be the third season, this is the big one. This is where we are going to have a chance to really, go out there and possibly complete this challenge within 3 seasons. Because we've been given £100 million and there's still players that I am looking to offload. So that budget is going to go up to potentially in the region of 180 by the time I've sold the players I want to sell. So we have got a great opportunity to bring in players here and see exactly what we can do. And we could work some really, really big miracles with this type of money. So let's get into the transfer window, which is going to be the third one, and see who we can bring in. So I've spent a lot of time looking at some players who I think are going to be the players to push us over the edge and actually really turn us into European giants, win the Champions League, continue to win the Premier League, and hopefully also a couple more English Cups. Now, the first player we're going to go over the players we sold, is going to be Victor Lindelof, because as you can see on the left-hand column, we have brought in new centre-backs. He goes to Monaco for £32 million. We have Garnacho going to Hoffenheim, a player that never really took off in the under-21s and also didn't really take his chance. Well, I did actually promote him into the senior team, and I let him go, to be honest, because at the end of the day, he's a great player in real life. But you got to question, if we had, half the players we have in this save, would Garnacho get a look in? Probably not. So he goes to Hoffenheim for £27 million. We also offload Dean Henderson, one of my first intentions, for £22 million to Monaco, a team that love to take our players. Bournemouth to Charlie McNeil to Bournemouth for £1.3 million, and Scott McTominay to FC Porto for 31. Now, we don't hold back with the signings, I'm going to be honest. We spend £211 million. Obviously, still, that is less than, or it's pretty much bang even. If you take the budget we got and the amount of players we sold, we sort of traded Kim Min Jae from Napoli for £29.5 million, Justin Bilal from Feyenoord for £32 million, Tomori from AC Milan for £55 million, Ilic from Verona for £45 million, and Ryan Gravenberch from FC Bayern for £62 million. Now, with these players, obviously they're different players in every single position, and we've covered a lot of new areas of the pitch, and we've strengthened up big time. This is obviously going to be one of the better centre-backs you can get. He is he's a slightly older age. 27 isn't old, in my opinion, for a centre-half. Sort of signing one in his prime. A leading Premier Division standard player. 17 tackling, reasonably quick, good strength. And, do you know what? A very known centre-back and a very popular choice amongst pretty much a lot of FM players. We then go across to Justin Bilan, a goalkeeper again, which is one of the go-tos after a few seasons to try and pick up to strengthen that team. And now this is where you're going to see obviously him get into that first team, replacing De Gea. 4-star ability, that's pretty much what you can expect him to be. He's not going to jump to a 5-star anytime soon, but that's completely fine, because that is already better than what De Gea was, because De Gea getting older, not necessarily out of bad form, but he's actually gone down stars, went to a 2.5, so definitely did need to upgrade in that position. We then go and sign Tomori, again, a little bit of a backup option, a fantastic backup option, 26 years of age, good tackling, a bit more quick on the ball as well, quick in general, not on the ball, sorry, more of a quick centre-half, so again, might not just be a bench player or an impact sub, if you want to use that word, but a player who is happy to be a squad player, put it that way, and already a good Premier Division player, close to full potential, but a little bit of room for growth. We then obviously go and we sign Ilic, and this guy was an absolute bargain in my opinion. He's a fantastic midfield player, can play anywhere in midfield, defensive, centre or attacker, not that we really need an attacker midfielder. 4.5 star ability, world class at the age of 23, worth between 64 and 78 million pounds, and does a little bit of everything in terms of attributes, and a real good signing for this team. And the last one is going to be Ryan Gravenberch, a player who I didn't have in my mind to instantly go out and sign, but he was on the market for a price that I was happy to pay. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to get him and we'll see exactly what he can do for this team. And obviously, a lot of these signings are set up for future players as well. This is going to be one of them. That midfield was fantastic in the likes of Eriksen and Casemiro, but they were sort of 30 plus. Bringing in some younger players for the future is a must, and this guy is part of the plan. And this is going to be the team going into the third season. And this team looks incredible. Obviously, you've got Bilal, Dalot, Varane, Jay coming in the defence as well. Gvardiol actually getting fit with the best left back now. Eriksen and Casemiro still being fit with the best. Fernandes on the right being fit with the best. Sancho, Kane and Abraham. But you look at the bench and it's just strength upon strength. Got some fantastic players on that bench now. De Gea, Tomori, Fernandes, Rashford, Martinez, Gravenberch, Anthony, Ilic, Luke Shaw. You got Fred and Bissaka in the reserves and more names to mention down below. And that team is now looking absolutely incredible. The depth is nuts. The starting 11 is nuts. So let's get into the third season and see if 3 is the lucky number. Well, guys, it seems that number 3 is going to be the lucky season. This is going to be the rebuild actually completed because of the likes of, well, Harry Kane coming in, having a massive impact, and what a rebuild this has been. Obviously, I knew this wouldn't probably take the entire 5 seasons because you've already got a decent team and you're given quite a nice budget. And there's also some players you can move on to get a little bit more Awonga. And to be honest, in my opinion, this is now one of the better Manchester United rebuilds I have seen, definitely from what I've done myself as well. You've won the Champions League, the Premier Division, the FA Cup, the Community Shield. We've pretty much won everything possible to us now across these 3 years. 127 goals scored, only 29 conceded. And if we're going to have a quick look into the squad stats, and we can have a look here. So you're going to be seeing 55 goals from Kane, 39 for Tammy, Bruno Fernandes with 22, 15 for Martial, Kim Min-jae with actually 13, and even the assists. There's so many players contributing with high numbers of assists. It's absolutely incredible. And do you know what? It's quite a convincing season as well in terms of actual points. If we actually have a quick look into the Premier Division, go to stats, team overview, we can see we dominate quite a few of these. Most goals, most points, most shots, fewest shots against, fewest conceded, showing how well this tactic actually is when it comes to defending and also going out and getting goals. It really does do a little bit of everything. So why not? We're going to treat ourselves. We're going to go ahead and watch the Champions League final. We are going to watch the Champions League final, but I couldn't resist watching this. This is the FA Cup final against bitter rivals Manchester City, and they do actually go a goal up here by the looks of it, with Bernardo Silva blitzing himself past, well, let me click on him, Gvardiol of all people, and Haaland does get an easy tap in, but we do not give up in this team. Gvardiol, who I believe is playing at left back this game, as the assistant did like to do quite frequently. Bruno Fernandes with a beautiful ball over the top into Tammy Abraham, and by the way, a player who I don't think I've given enough credit to, sort of going under the radar a little bit. He has been incredible. Ilic into Gravenberch, the 2 in midfield that obviously we did bring in together. Little bit lucky there, ball across into Harry Kane, and we're seeing how deadly these 2 strikers are together up front. Both clinical, both fantastic strikers. Gvardiol, a fantastic ball over the top into Bruno Fernandes. Laporte could have done better there, but Bruno keeps on going, and he actually goes alone and tucks it in past Manchester City, and that ended up being quite a comfortable 3-1 win, to be fair, in a game which we did deserve to win as well. Manchester City playing pretty much a full-strength team. Obviously, Kimmich as well here. Who is Di Catalire? Well, he looks very good, to be fair. Fair play to him. They always do pluck out the best players. De Bruyne on the left, Haaland, Silva, Rodri, Kimmich, Diaz. A fantastic team, but we were just too much. And we talk about comebacks. This is the Champions League final, and we actually did go 2-0 down. And this just shows that sometimes you have to be patient with a tactic, because you might start off bad, but at the end of the day, we have come back from this, as you're going to see. We actually go 2-0 down quite quickly. I believe the first goal, as you can see, 12 minutes, and the second one comes from Kante into Musiala, out to Hakimi, who burst past Guardia, a very rapid fullback, and Mbappe tucks it in to the bottom left. But we bounce back. We never give up in this system, and this is what we're going to see. So we win it back there. Guardia into Tammy, looks for the wide player, into Sancho, who takes his time, a wonder ball into Kane, little flick up, and a very composed finish. Sort of created that sort of volley for himself there into the bottom left corner. We go again with Dalot with a throw in into Gravenberch, into Dalot, a ball inside into Jadon Sancho of all people, who beats the man at the far post and heads it to equalise. That's not it though, because we go again in the 75th minute. Jadon Sancho looking very lively down this left-hand side. We really did get the best out of him in this save, I believe. And Tammy Abraham heads it in against PSG, and it's a complete collapse for the PSG side, who were playing a very interesting style. They were obviously playing Walton, Marquinhos, Solé, Kimpembe, Mendes, Verratti, Kante, Hakimi, Musiala, Sola, and Mbappe. Messi has retired, by the way, on this. I can only assume, because he wasn't at the club and I didn't see him go anywhere else. They've got Timber on the bench, Scalvini, Fabian. They've got some great players on the bench, but it was a game which we did deserve to win, so there's no real complaints that they can have. So, with the rebuild side being done, guys, I mean, we've won everything we possibly can. I've ticked off every single thing. The 3 checkpoints were obviously Premier League, UCL, and have a squad which I'm happy with in terms of depth and what I've left them with. And that's exactly what we've got here. If we actually filter it by the best 11, we can see what it does. We've got Bilal, Dalot, Varane, Jay, Gvardiol, Eriksen, Gravenberch, Fernandes, Sancho, Kane, Abraham, De Gea, Tomori, Casemiro, Rashford, Martinez, Illich, Martial, Shaw, Fernandes, Diallo, Malacia, Anthony, Pellistri, Wan-Bissaka, Fred. So many fantastic players, and we're going to break down this tactic now as well. Now, as always, this was created by Nap, this tactic. Fantastic tactic maker, so be sure to show him a little love heart in the comments. It'd be very nice. And while you're there, be sure to smash the like button and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. You knew it was coming. But this is going to be the tactic then. It is going to be your average 4-4-2, but it is slightly tweaked because, sorry about that, but originally, this isn't a deep line playmaker here. I believe there's 2 Volantes. But I did tweak it for myself because obviously I've got Eriksen, I've got Bruno Fernandes and other players who prefer to play in deep line playmaker. So I had to tweak it slightly, but that's the only adjustment I used. But when you download this tactic, which I will leave a link to into the comments, you are going to have 2 Volantes, so you can switch that if you wish. We're going to start off with an attacker mentality. In possession, fairly wide, pass into space, overlap left and right, focus play down the left and the right and play out of defence, shorter passing directness with a higher tempo, work the ball into the box, partner with low crosses and run at defence. In transition, you want to have counter press, counter, distribute to the fullbacks and throw it long. Out of possession, you want a standard defensive line, a high press line of engagement much more often and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. And going over to the player roles, there is going to be quite a bit to take in here. We're going to start off with the keeper. A sweeper keeper on defend, on take fewer risks and tackle harder. So quite a calm sweeper keeper. The right back is a wing back on automatic, cross from the byline, shoot less often, get further forwards, sit narrower, tackle harder and run wide with the ball. The left back again is a wing back on automatic, cross from the byline, shoot less often, get further forwards, sit narrower, tackle harder and run wide with the ball. 2 ball playing defenders in this system, obviously both on defend, pass it shorter, dribble less, take more risks and hold position. And on the right hand side it's exactly the same, so I'm only going to read out 1 because obviously they are literally identical. 2 in the middle. Now I'm going to say what I use in this system because obviously I did slightly tweak it. We had 1 deep line playmaker on support, pass it shorter, dribble more, close down more, tackle harder, mark tighter, shoot less often, take more risks and hold position. And to partner him is a Volante on support, and he is told to take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, get further forwards, tackle harder and mark tighter. Going over to the 4 attacking players on the left, we have an inverted winger on attack, take more risks, shoot less often, sit narrower, tackle harder, dribble more, cutting sides with the ball, cutting side with the ball, sorry, and get further forwards. And on the right hand side is exactly the same, so I'm not going to bother, saying it again because, I think that'll even annoy you guys if I do that. They're literally exactly the same. And then 2 up top, are they going to be the same? They're slightly different. The one on the left is an advanced forward on attack, take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, close down more, tackle harder and move into channels. And on the right hand side is again an advanced forward on attack, but this one, shoot less often, roam from position, close down more, tackle harder, and move into channels. And that is going to be the tactic broken down. Like I said, it is going to be made by Nap. And the reason why I'm not going to save this as my own tactic, because I know I did tweak it a little bit, is because that would be literally me ripping Nap's tactic off. So I'm just going to make this very clear. The tactic you're going to download is going to feature 2 Volantes, but you can change it like I've done, or you can keep it with 2 Volantes. Completely your choice. But guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed Manchester United being rebuilt. If you want your team rebuilt, or any team that you'd like to be rebuilt, then do please leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to feature that in one of the voting polls, and that could have a chance to be on the channel and get a full rebuild. If you guys have enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.